Why do Trump supporters look at the exact same evidence you do, yet see a completely different reality? You can present them with court documents, direct quotes, and verifiable video footage of undeniable controversies. And instead of changing their minds, they dig their heels in deeper. They get angry, they deflect, they tell you the sources are lying. Are they simply ignoring the truth on purpose, or is their brain fundamentally processing reality in a completely different way than yours? The answer lies in a deeply wired, evolutionary neurological defense mechanism, and I'm going to reveal exactly what that is at the very end of this video. To understand what is actually happening here, we have to strip away the political pundits and look strictly at peer-reviewed behavioral science. When social psychologists began analyzing the intense, unwavering loyalty surrounding modern political figures, they found it wasn't born out of simple policy agreements like tax cuts or trade tariffs. According to massive data sets analyzed in the Journal of Social and Political Psychology, this phenomenon is fueled by two distinct psychological traits: right-wing authoritarianism and social dominance orientation. In studies spanning from the 2016 election through recent national surveys, researchers analyzed thousands of voters and discovered that the most fervent supporters scored uniquely high in authoritarian aggression and group-based dominance. This is a critical distinction. Social dominance orientation is the underlying, often unconscious belief that society is supposed to have a strict vertical hierarchy, that certain groups are inherently meant to be at the top and others at the bottom. When these individuals experience relative deprivation, the perception that their specific demographic group is losing its traditional cultural or economic status, they do not look for a traditional politician, they look for an enforcer. The real-world cases of this are striking in the data. The rhetoric that resonates most strongly with this group involves promises to crush political enemies or framing out groups as existential threats. The psychological appeal isn't the policy itself, it is the aggressive assertion of dominance. It is the psychological comfort of having a strong man who promises to restore the social hierarchy to its rightful order. But here is where the psychology gets truly fascinating. What happens when that strong man does something that completely violates the supporter's own stated moral code? This is where the human brain executes a terrifyingly brilliant defense strategy. Between 2019 and 2022, researchers tracked how loyalists responded to belief-conflicting information across three major real-world cases: a pre-impeachment period, a post-impeachment vote, and a post-arraignment period. Logically, a massive scandal or criminal charge should permanently drop support. But psychology dictates otherwise due to cognitive dissonance. When a supporter is faced with undeniable evidence that their chosen leader has done something objectively terrible, it creates intense, measurable psychological pain. The human brain hates this discomfort, so it deploys emergency countermeasures. The researchers documented these countermeasures in real time. When presented with severe allegations, over half of the highly loyal subjects immediately deployed absolute denial, labeling the evidence as fabricated regardless of the source. Others utilized whataboutism, instantly deflecting to the perceived crimes of political rivals to balance their internal moral ledger, and the most fascinating subset simply rewired their own values on the spot. Individuals who previously claimed high moral standards suddenly stated that character and personal morality no longer mattered in a leader, only the policies did. They didn't abandon the leader, they bent their own reality to protect their ego. Now, looking at this reality-bending loyalty, you might assume it is driven by chaos, a lack of education, or low emotional control. But a groundbreaking 2025 study analyzing the personality traits of political personality cults found the exact opposite. When behavioral scientists looked at the most dedicated core of political loyalists, the roughly 10% of the population who are entirely uncompromising, they didn't find erratic, disorganized behavior. They found off-the-charts levels of a Big Five personality trait known as conscientiousness. These are highly orderly, highly self-disciplined people. In their minds, the world is becoming dangerously unpredictable. Another recent psychological study mapped this to a concept called the threat to optimal distinctiveness. These voters feel a profound sense of belonging to a traditional, idealized American identity. But as society rapidly diversifies and changes, they feel their unique cultural status is being erased. Their extreme, unwavering loyalty isn't madness. It is a highly disciplined, hyper-organized psychological attempt to cling to a savior figure who promises to maintain order and protect their identity from being watered down. Which brings us to the ultimate answer. When you show a loyalist hard facts and they double down, what is actually happening inside their head? The answer is a well-documented psychological mechanism called identity protective cognition. Their brain is no longer processing your facts as new information. because their political choice has become entirely fused with their core identity, their brain interprets opposing facts as a literal, physical threat to their existence. The amygdala, the brain's threat detection center, fires up exactly as if a wild animal was attacking them in the woods. They aren't consciously ignoring your logic. Their brain has literally bypassed its logical processing centers to prioritize defending their identity. They double down because, neurologically speaking, admitting they were wrong about the leader feels exactly like destroying a piece of themselves.